Alright, so our product is the Obsidian Arbor 2000.
So before we decided what kind of product we're going to be working on, we have to figure out what kind of interests we all like. We work as a team and we want to work on something that we all like. Our common interest was video games and computers. We like playing video games, we like upgrading computers, so we decided that we wanted to find a problem that was related to computers. So then we started brainstorming problems. We brainstormed around 200 problems, and it was any kind of problem that we could think of, mainly computer related, but if there's any other kind of wacky ideas, we thought about it as well. Then we decided to narrow down those problems that we wanted to work on. And we narrowed them down to 3 problems, and then we started figuring out solutions, brainstorming solutions for each of these problems. And then that's led us to our problem statement, or the problem that we want to solve, which is desktop computers lack the desired qualities of ease of accessibility to components, portability, and space utilization, important factors of the gaming experience. So now that we know what our problem is, we want to work on making a better gaming system. We have to figure out solutions that current solutions that already exist, and also patents. So we found solutions and patents, and what we mainly found were computers that were built into the desk. We found like different kinds of desks, such as L-shaped desks, mainstay student desks. We also found like mounts where you could mount a computer. We found convertible drawers. Now that we know what kind of products that were out there, what kind of solutions, we wanted to compare all these solutions. We wanted to figure out what made these solutions good and how could we add these good aspects to our own solution. So we figured out the specs, such as like the cost, how good it was during like portability or during productivity. So we started weighting them, like what was the most important aspect of these, such as we thought that practicality was more important than cost. So we started comparing all of them, and we figured out what aspects we liked the most.
So for we asked our consumers what they would prefer about their setup. We figured out that that there wasn't really a good place to put their desktop, and the desk space that they need is valuable to them. So these are our initial sketches for our product ideas. We had it so that the computer is on one side of the desk and it is incorporated with the drawers. This is our conceptual design for our first conceptual design. We have a roll-out drawer and then a part you can take off of the top of the computer. Our prototype number 1, we have our computer on the side. We have it so that the desk is lower than the computer. However, our consumers said that they would rather have it so that it's all flush as one, so that there's more level desk space. They would also like it so that we have holes so that there's easier and more organized cable management, so it looks cleaner and stuff like that.
So some important measurements that we took on our first prototype was the heat of our CPU, which was important to us because if a computer overheats, it can damage the components, and we wanted to make sure that our computer compartment wouldn't overheat, which it actually was a little bit too hot, which was a problem that we wanted to solve in our future prototypes. We measured the surface area, which was actually a lot smaller than our goal, because as you can see in the picture on the bottom left, there's very limited space with the monitor and the keyboard, so we wanted to increase the amount of space. Our sound test was a little loud when the computer compartment was being taken out because the wood was scraping, which we wanted to improve, and the stability test, the desk did wiggle some, which was a problem. So our tests on prototype 1, we conducted 25 tests, and the most significant tests were the time to access components, the portability, and the time to remove and attach cables. And on the right, you can see the tests and the results. So for prototype number 2, as you can see in the picture, we made the computer compartment flush with the desk, which is what our consumers wanted. We improved the stability with the bottom of the desk. We increased the computer area, and we cut out holes for cables, as you can see in the top left of the desk. And we put magnets to attach the top of the desk. And some of our feedback on prototype 2 was that it can't replace their current setup because they want to keep their desk, and it's lacking drawer slides and color, and the stability improved, but they wanted to keep their desk as stable as it was, and there's some functionality missing. So for our third prototype, we added mobility with the wheels of the suitcase, as you can see. It's like a suitcase computer. So we added mobility so you can take it to your friend's house and whatnot. And we added color for appearance. We added a drawer slide so you can access your computer easier. We decreased the size so you can actually keep your desk and use this as an alternative. And we added a handle so you can carry it around. And we conducted tests on prototype number 3, and you can see them here compared to the tests on prototype number 1. The time to access computer components was much quicker because of the new drawer that we added, which made it easier to see what was inside. It was a lot more portable because our first prototype was a desk, and our second prototype was more of a portable suitcase type design. So we could fit it into minivans and sedans, whereas with prototype 1 we could not. The only problem was that the time to remove and reattach cables was a little bit longer because in our first prototype you could actually remove the computer from the design, but in this prototype it's just attached to a drawer. And for some future improvements that we'd like to make is the holes for the cables could be improved, such as caps, because right now they look a little bit ugly. And the computer drawer has no latching mechanism, so once it could fall out once it's closed, so we would like to add maybe magnets or something so it can stay in place. And a more lightweight material could be helpful because the wood is a heavy and it is hard to lift into like a car. Thanks for listening.
Time was 6:52. 6:52.
All right.
And I'm not sure if you realize this, and it did slow down a little bit, but like right when you started talking, you were going at like 1 million words per minute, and it was really hard to keep track of what you were saying. Like really hard.
All right. Johnny, go first.
So like, for this, would it be like you buy this with a pre-made computer in it, or would you just buy your own components and then put them in like that pre-made casing?
This would be a case that you would get, so you could put your components into it and change it out however you like.
Okay.
Zero.
So can you go to the decision matrix slide real fast? That is really hard to see the results.
Don't worry about that.
And I don't know what.
We've heard that for a couple groups.
Yeah.
Again, consider, you want to show that you've done a decision matrix. If there's things that you can screenshot and enlarge, that might be a way to make this more of an impactful slide.
Why is it that the names of the products are like half of it?
No, that's not a question.
No, that was the format of the. This is just the original format of the decision matrix that Mr. Kevin supplied. So.
We'll change that. Go ahead.
Can I see the problem statement again? It might be like the other group better to add some data for maybe like your survey or something. Like get a little more of like what and like why.
You need data in your problem statement.
Okay.
For full points, you need data in your problem statement. Which survey, or how big was that survey?
Sierra.
For your slide that says important measurements, I think everything looks and seems like a little small on there, especially like maybe the pictures could be a little bigger, but the words, I don't think anyone's in the back's gonna be able to see it. And also for your test, where it shows like your average times and stuff for your second one. Oh, even that one too, I guess. It says like your names like Jacob, Brian, Dan. I don't really know if that looks, I don't know. I just think it's a little weird to have like your names in it.
We'll just
You
put
guys
that-
are a biased testing group. You are. It's yours. What would be better is 3 random people and go up to or other random people. Of course, you're going to be able to do it. You know how it works, but what does the consumer know?
This might come with practice, but I noticed a lot of you guys were saying and a lot. So we practice that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So for your slides with a lot of text on them like this, you might want to highlight like the most important tests out of this one. I know you talked about like the most important ones, but just to like bring your eyes to the most significant data.
Okay.
Good point, Kate.
Right.
So, one thing just about the slides itself, a lot of the bottom text right there, I think what makes it hard to read, and even if the slides aren't so wordy, is it looks wordy just because the color of the font. It's really, there's no contrast, and personally for me, it was hard to read it or just see it because it kind of just blends in with the rest of the slide.
Okay.
Kind of what Sarah and AJ have been going off, like Dan, like slow down a little, and then for both Jacob and Ryan, kind of you guys like seemed like you were reading from the slides. Ryan particularly, you kind of had like for like your body position was like very much like shoulder front. So like yeah, if you had it more like that, I think yeah, because it seemed like you were generally more looking towards the slides than rather than the audience.
Okay. Thank you.
This is just something nitpicky. In the measurements slide for the goal for the stability test where it says none, it kind of seems like you didn't have a goal. So if you did 0 inches,
Yeah.
that might be better.
All right.
Or like no
Yeah.
wiggle. Yeah.
Goal, we have no goal.